Welcome to another edition, another episode of the Black Critique. My name is Kofi, and what I'm gonna do today, I'm gonna do a little bit of commentary right now, and yes, the title is right. You did not read it wrong. I give credit to where credit is due. I understand what FBA means when they say they're undermining us, but not all the way, not in that full context. So what I'm talking about right now is politically. So when they say, hey, look, they don't understand certain things, how the political system work, how this work, yada, 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 right? Anybody could learn. But, we're talking about FBA, so, they're probably racist, just like white people probably thinking that a person can't learn. So you got Negroes that don't even know who their congressman is, let alone understanding the whole United States political system, federal or local. But that's besides the point. What I'm doing right now, I'm commenting on this guy. His name is Afrodamus. He's from the Gambia, right? I like his channel. He has a lot of Africans that come on there, and whatever the subject matter is, whatever the topic is, they comment on it. They talk about their culture and things like that, and I really like that. I like that African space. I love that African perspective. But the gentleman here is extremely, now that I went through the video and everything, he seems to be extremely right wing, and I think he's new at it. So his political position that he takes undermines Black Americans and every Black person in this country. So as you see way at the top left, you see Obama. He doesn't like Obama, right? I don't like Obama either, right? But I don't like Obama for legitimate reasons. I don't have to lie. I can just look at Obama's record, and when it comes to Black people, it's deplorable and shameful. He doesn't like Obama for a different reason. So don't care. Joe Biden, again, don't care. But he's a Republican, so of course, he's going to put Obama and Joe Biden there. So you're going to see in the video how he's just a very horrible political Republican commentator. Joe Biden has plenty of issues, legitimate issues, but he doesn't address it. So Kamala Harris, again, don't care. Really don't care about Kamala Harris. She was a joke when she was running against Joe Biden. She's a joke now as the vice president. Ain't doing nothing, ain't doing shit. I wonder if she's Black now or Asian. Not really sure. I guess when the moment arrives, we're going to know. And you have the piece of shit white boy here that gunned down all the Black people in that supermarket. So he's going to do what Republicans, you're going to see what he's going to do. He's going to, again, downplay what this white boy did, massacring all these Black people. Then you see the next picture next to him is, no guns, whatever. Same retarded ass political Republican talking point. When you talk about gun control, they say, oh, you want to take away my guns. We're going to get into that, right? And then you see the picture there of the crazy looking Black dude. Now, if you didn't know, there was a Black dude, it was around Christmas time. I think he was running from the cops or whatever. And he was like a crowd. I think they were doing some Christmas festivities and stuff like that. And he mowed people down. He just drove through people. And, I'm not sure if he killed people, but doesn't matter. He drove through a crowd full of people. He's saying, oh, well, he's racist because he did it. No, he was crazy. He was running from the cops, and he just ran over people, and it just so happened to be white. That doesn't make him racist. That makes him an asshole. Right? So these are these false narratives that they have. But at the same time, You had over there at Charlottesville, right, when you had black people protesting the removal of the monument, a Confederate monument, right, a Confederate monument, and you had the alt right there, you had QAnon there, you had the alt right there beating up black people and all that, and then you had a crazy redneck white dude came and did the same thing that the black guy did, but he did it for because he didn't like the white people that were on the side of black people, that allying with black people, and he just ran through and mowed everybody down in that crowd, killing I forgot, I think her name was Heather Heyer, killing someone. I mean, it doesn't matter if she was not, I mean, the person wasn't black, she was white, but it doesn't matter. He actually meant to kill people, and that's what he did, right? But he's not going to mention that. So that's, and then finally at the bottom right, that's the brother in question who I'm going to be critiquing on. So it's going to be a ride, because the shit that he says is a little bit more crazier than the average Republican. So it's entertaining and kind of sad at the same time, because he's targeting black people, I think mostly named Africans that don't know anything about America, don't know the political sphere very well, and he's giving it to you in a one-dimensional Republican view, which is very dangerous. So that's when FBA, so when we got people like him and people that listen to him and have his ideology, when they say, hey, look, they undermining, they come here, they undermining us, secure the tribe and all that dumb shit, when obviously you got a lot of lost, ignorant black Americans that are Republicans that either, you know, because they don't know, their ass on their elbow, they don't know what they doing. You know, I don't know, they're trying to like snuggle up next to white people, next to the extremely racist white people, hoping like, I remember you, nigga. Yeah, you're one of the good ones. You're on the outside when everything was going crazy. So I don't know what their reason is, but they're not wrapped too tight when it comes to logic. But anyway, please remember to hit that like button. Please share the video, and we're just gonna get right into it.
To a lot of the things that are happening, you know, which by the way, it is very difficult to not notice unless you bury your head in the sand. But for most people, they probably are seeing things that are out of place. They know it's not normal, but they don't know how to react to these things. So I would help give you the words, you know, on how to, you know, process a lot of the things that you're seeing. For me, and for most people that have been paying attention, this is deja vu all over again. I'm sure many of you have heard about the school shootings that's been taking place. Here, I said that's been taking place as if it's ongoing. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it is, but I have seen
it has been ongoing. If I haven't said it before, I'm going to say it now. This brother here, he's been in this country for a while, right? I'm not too sure as of how long, but I know it's way over 10 years. I think it was like 20 years or so. And school shootings since Columbine has become commonplace. Right-wing domestic terrorism has been becoming commonplace for over 20 years or so. So Columbine was, if for all who don't remember what Columbine is, basically it was two white boys that, you know, felt out of place and things like that, and they, you know, they weren't accepted by the popular kids or anything like that, but they also had racist connotations also to their execution, or if they executed a black kid, and I think, I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right, because that's the one thing that stood out to me, obviously, as a black person. As they killed the kid, I think they shot the kid in the head. It was like, oh, look at this nigger's brains. Oh my God. So I was like, whoa. That, something like that was kind of almost swept under the rug. So all these shootings and killings has been going on from the 90s. Unfortunately, as time went on, it's gotten even worse. Like, every year or every other year, another right-wing mass shooter, or just shooter. Sometimes we don't know what their political affiliation is, because it may not be driven due to a political stance or being done for a political reason. But it's always, every time it's done, most of the times it's for a political reason, and most of the times it's a right winger that's doing it. And every year they always top the previous year with more bodies, unfortunately. So unfortunately, that's the situation of the matter. So it is ongoing.
This movie before. I've seen this movie before, and for some reason it's the same players, the same actors in the movie. I'm not talking about the shooters and victims. I'm talking about those who somehow try to take advantage of this situation. Because it seems like there is two camps. There is people who believe in America, Americans, right? The Americans, they believe in the Constitution, the freedom of speech, the Second Amendment, which is the right to bear arms. But for some reason, the freedom of speech in America, just in case you haven't been noticing, have slided way aside, because you have to follow a certain narrative for you to be, like, you have to have the right thinking, and somebody else have to decide what that right thinking is. So
that's not how the Constitution works. So the Constitution is supposed to be abided by all American citizens, no matter race, creed, religion, yada 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 yada. Right? Of course, it was amended. The Constitution obviously was amended, so those rights were amended. So in the beginning, it was basically talking about white men, because only white men have those privileges: right to bear arms, voting, pursuit to happiness, yada 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 yada. So of course, it was amended by the 13th Amendment and other amendments and things of that nature. So move fast forward to right now, it means if you're an American, everyone that's an American, period. So it doesn't have to do with right thinking. It has nothing to do with right thinking. It has to do if you're an American. If you're an American citizen and you're in America, the Constitution, that's what you need to abide by. It's in the Pledge of Allegiance.
At one point, this same Constitution, the videos that I'm about to show here today, by the way, gave power to these very players. And I'm going to, paint scenarios for you that would, give you connections so that you see exactly what I'm talking about. So during Obama's term, Obama was president for 8.
Whoa. Huge red flag and red lights. So here goes the whole Republican hopscotch and dishonesty. It is 2022. The shootings he's talking about happened about a week ago, right? These two shootings happened about a week ago, right? So why is he talking about Obama, going to show things about Obama. Well, I'm going to show you the reason why these shootings happen because of Obama. That's over 8 years ago. That was over 8 years ago. So to him, it seems like, okay, so you had the Obama administration that was for 8 years, and then 4 years, like the last 4.5 years didn't happen, and you just got Joe Biden. Why is he skipping over? I'll be fair. Why is he skipping over Joe Biden, right? And skipping 4 years of Trump, then skipping another 8 years to Obama to talk about something that happened right now. Just keep that in mind as he keeps talking.
Yes, I'm sure most of you know this, right? So during Obama's time, there were several mass shootings. And at the time, Obama was the president and Joe Biden was the vice president. So today, if you look at what is happening, for instance, like I think 3 years ago, I mean, probably less than that. So I listen to what people say, because when you come on television, you know, a lot of these things that these people are going to implement and they believe in, they will say it casually. So you, the individual, you're the one refusing to hear what is being said, because they play with your mind. They use emotions.
What? Only an ignorant person will refuse what someone is saying. If you trying to judge a situation, all parties involved in the situation, you need to listen to all parties involved in the situation so you could come up with a determination as of to what's being said, to understand the whole thing totally. So what he just said makes no sense.
To play with your mind, because emotions is what got Obama elected. You see? So I've been watching.
No. I'm not going to say he's 100% right, and I'm not going to say he's 100% wrong. Political climate. Like, we all know so far this guy seems like a Republican. A very bad one at that. At least some Republicans are very sneaky and very sly with their political commentary. They'll lie, but they'll do it in a very conniving way, unless you don't know what they're talking about. Him, he's horrible. He's absolutely horrible. And he doesn't give you proper context. The reason why Obama was voted in had to do to the political climate. The political climate of what happened back then. So 9/11 just happened, right? Just happened. It happened during George W. Bush Jr. last term in office. And basically what it was, for those of you who don't know, especially my audience that may not know or into politics like that, is when that happened, 9/11 just happened, and a lot of people, you know, you had, what's that administration you had? You had Dick Cheney, you had Condoleezza Rice, you had Colin Powell, right? George Bush lied and said that, oh, it was Saddam Hussein that did 9/11, right? Even though they had no evidence, and it was the Taliban, bin Laden, taking responsibility for 9/11, but they knew it wasn't Saddam Hussein. I'm trying to make this real quick. George Bush Sr., right, who was George Bush's father, George Bush Sr. was the president of the United States about an administration or two back, because it was Clinton. Yeah, it was George Bush Sr., Clinton, then George Bush Jr., to my recollection, if I'm not wrong. All George Bush Jr. was doing was trying to do some unfinished business that his father did. So when his father, when George Bush Sr. was president, that's when the war Desert Storm happened. So it was basically George Bush Sr. and Saddam Hussein had a beef, pretty much. Again, I'm trying to keep it quick, but keep it into context so you can see the connection. So you had Desert Storm that was happening, right? Saddam Hussein became an enemy of the state, even though Saddam Hussein used to work with the United States, but he became a whole other story. He became a target, bad guy, yada 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 yada. We all know the playbook. So George Bush Sr. never really got Saddam Hussein. You lost a lot of people there in Desert Storm. So then Bill Clinton happened, and then George Bush Jr. happened in his last term. I believe if 9/11 didn't happen, George Bush Jr. would have got Saddam Hussein anyway. But because of 9/11 happened, and it's something that you can't ignore, George Bush Jr. said, well, damn, I got to do and finish my father's work, so let me lie and say that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction and blame 9/11 on Saddam Hussein. So that's what was happening back then, right? So him trying to put the blame on Obama. I'm sorry, I almost lost my train of thought. So that was the political climate. So it's either vote for George Bush Jr., or vote for anyone in the Republican Party, because obviously George Bush couldn't run again. So vote for anybody in the Republican Party, which at that time they were saying, no, Saddam Hussein is responsible for 9/11. They were sticking with that talking point, or trying to straddle the fence, when everyone knew, like, no, 9/11 happened, Saddam Hussein did it. What are you talking about? Even to the point where even we now know Colin Powell on his deathbed, Colin Powell regretted a lot of things that he did, knowing that George Bush was telling the truth. George Bush also sent troops over there, forced Colin Powell to send troops over there without the permission of Congress. You just can't unilaterally just send, well, I'm waging war in the country, and don't let the other branches of government know United States. You can't do that. That's what makes the United States United States. It's not a monarchy. It's not a dictatorship. It's not a communist regime, even though it is now. Thank you to the Republicans, that's what they really want, right? So George Bush was unpopular because of that. So that's one major political reason why people weren't looking towards the Republican Party. Plus, Obama seat was the better candidate versus the other Republican candidate, and he was the first so-called black so-called president. Even though he's phenotypically black, he's a mulatto, he's half black, and everything else. He was raised by white parents, a white mother, white grandparents. Everywhere where he grew up was in a white area. He was pretty much the token black guy in all throughout school. Michelle Obama, I believe, was the first black woman he ever dated, then married. So basically, black people christen him kind of, oh yeah, you're black, even though his upbringing is not black at all. So when Afrodamus says, well, people just voted for Obama out of emotions, again, he is lying. He didn't tell you what the political climate is. Anybody gets voted in, there may be an emotional component to it, but it's not strictly emotional. It's going to be political. So that's a lie that he told, or he's just ignorant and just had to do what Republicans do, which is lie.
This like a game of football, because coming from outside, right? entering America, you have to realize one thing. Whether the politics consume you or you consume the politics, there is two sides. There is the American people, who many will probably call the Republicans, the real Republicans, and even the Democrats. They all believed in the Constitution. I remember there was a time when they would have these hot debates on national television, even CNN, Fox. They would have these debates about the Constitution. Those who believe.
And now, I'll put the article up. The GOP and Trump, they no longer want to have debates because they don't want to get smashed in debates, especially because right now the only person, if you're not on Trump's side as a Republican, you're an outcast. That's it. Because they want Trump to run again, because I think I got to get a Gallup poll on this, but they're saying, but I think more than half, or at least half of Republicans right now believe that Joe Biden is not the legitimate president. This is just one of the lunatic things that the Republican Party believes in. So it's a lot of projection here when he talks about, people who vote for Obama or whoever, or for Democrats. It's just purely emotional. When we have Republicans who feel they're supposed to be constitutionalists, right? But they don't know, they feel, because they can't prove it. Each case that was presented to the U.S. Supreme Court, Giuliani and Trump's lawyers, they lost every case. And some of these are Trump appointed judges, have lost every case to prove that there was election fraud. Every case. They don't have one shred of evidence to prove that there was actual election fraud. But the Republicans believe that. They also believe in Pizzagate. They also believe that JFK Jr. is going to come back from the dead. They also believe the things that they believe in. I think it was Marjorie Taylor Greene, or one to believe that there's Jewish space lasers. Like, they believe in crazy conspiratorial things. But he wants to talk about feelings
in it. And to believe in it was their litmus test. They would say, do you believe in the founding fathers? Until, like, Obama came. Obama was a constitutional lawyer himself. Yes, he accepted and allowed the Constitution to dictate, because
no lawyer could go against the Constitution. What do you mean? Maybe he meant like he specializes in a particular law practice. But all law is governed by federal and state. Federal law that's it. You go by that. Federal law, for those who don't know, federal law supersedes any state law or state legislation. If the federal law says, hey, this particular law, this is what it's going to be now, right? So local state law can't overturn a federal law, right? So the Constitution being one of them, I don't know, it makes no sense. Well, I'm a constitutional lawyer. Well, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, so you don't go by the Constitution being a lawyer in the United States? I don't know, maybe he misspoke, but that makes no sense.
As you see, one side believe in letting you be you follow the law. They don't want to infringe on your rights. But now you have...
Okay, jeez. Why are Republicans so slow and simple and easy? What political party, we don't know what it is, what political party says, okay, any political party can say you don't have the right to do whatever, right? Now, do they put it on the books? Is it on the books? Can that be done? This is why we have a Congress. This is why we have Supreme Court justices we're speaking on a federal level, not on a state level. So making all these broad blanket statements, I want him to tell me what has the Democrats done on a federal level to say that, well, you as an American can't do this. I know this is a federal law, but I'm going to overturn this federal law because I don't care what you said because I'm a Democrat. I want him to give an example because he's making these blanket statements. He's not pinning anything down, but let's see.
Another side, who, if you notice, they want to control your way of thinking, your humanity. Because
is it my way of thinking or is it humanity? It can't like, it's convoluted. It makes no sense. If everybody's trying to control your way of thinking. Now, if you're a sentient being and you can't think for yourself, you got other issues. You don't need to be worried about politics. You have other issues that you can't think for yourself, right? Basically, you're probably a walking functional idiot. And hey, that's your right. But the onus shouldn't be on other people because you're incapable of thinking for yourself, right? The humanity part, I don't know where he was going with that. I don't know. I'll let him keep talking.
If you pay attention, I'm not speaking to individuals. I'm speaking about an agenda here. You as an individual, what you believe in versus what you are voting for and who you are supporting. Because I'm going to show you things that I have seen with my own eyes, and you have seen it too, but maybe you weren't paying attention. Blatant lies. You would see people that believe in crazy things that you and I and many others would see as crazy. But those people are teaching your children. They are telling you things, smoothing it off to make it sound normal. So people are literally sacrificing their children. So this is why I said, the blacks, women, and children are the cannon fodder.
So as a disclaimer, when he says the blacks, he means black people that are not African. So him as an African from the Gambia, or any African, there's no such thing as, how should I put it? Trying to, from a European perspective, like you can't think from a European perspective. You have to think from an African perspective, or think from a tribal perspective, right? All people have tribes. Europeans have tribes, Germanic tribes. Obviously, Native Americans have tribes. All people have tribes, right? So the diaspora are just called the blacks because we don't have so-called African tribes like Maasai, Igbo, Hausa, Fulani, Igbo, etc., etc., etc. So when you see another African, and we're African, and you think that other African may be different. So let's say I'm Hausa, and I see an African, and I don't think, okay, I know he's an African, but I know he's not a Hausa. I'll say, what tribe are you from? I'm going to ask him, are you African? Because that's stupid. I know you're African, right? So I'm going to say, what tribe are you from? Oh, you may say Wolof. Oh, I'm Wolof. You're like, oh, okay, you're the Wolof tribe. I'm a Hausa tribe. And you talk about your tribe. You won't talk about your African. And that's how it is when you're in Africa. Same thing in Europe. If y'all have a language, let's say that's English, and let's say it's one person is German, and this German person speaking English, and he speaks English to another European that's white, he does not going to ask him, "Are you European?" No, he's going to say, "Oh, what country in Europe are you from?" They'll say that when it really means tribe. And let's say the guy say, "Oh, what part of Europe I'm from?" "Oh, I'm French." "Oh, you're French." They just say what country. It's also a tribe, because the French tribe is called the Franks. They're called the Franks. You can look that up. So the Franks are from France, and then it became France. And Germans are just pretty much, obviously, is a Germanic name or whatever. It's just basically you have the Germanic people and the Germanic tribes, and from those tribes you had different European groups besides the Romans. That's different. So I'm only giving you that disclaimer to say, so when he says the blacks, he's not including himself. He's talking about the diaspora, but in this particular case, he's talking about Black Americans at this point in time. He's talking about Black Americans.
And they're expendable. They're expendable because here is how it's played. With Black people, with their history, you use blacks for race and create a division there. And if you've been paying attention, the racial tension in America started heightening up when Obama, majority white people voted for him. Eventually, he flipped the script.
Now, I gotta... what he's saying is partially true. And I'm going to give it more context, because he's obviously coming from a Republican point of view. I don't know what white girl he got with, or what white person he's trying to please or ask to kiss. I don't know. I don't mean to, to talk ill of him, but that's, in my experience, that's usually the agenda. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is basically that it did get worse. There was always the vibe, but yes, since Obama became president, racial tensions have gotten worse. And that racial tension came from where? Obviously, the Republican Party, right? It came from the Republican Party. So you had even Fox News. That's how I knew it was on. I saw this coming. I understand history in America. I understand American history. I understand colonial history. And I understand how racists work. So when Obama named his candidacy for president, I was like, let's see how this is going to go down. So as I'm watching Fox News, I forgot her name. I don't even know if she even works there no more. I'm going to try to put it so you can see what I'm talking about.
Well, Michelle Obama is back in the news. A conservative group is putting together an anti-Obama documentary that will reportedly include the clip of Michelle Obama saying a while back that for the first time in her adult life, she feels proud of this country. But will this backfire? Conservative blogger Michelle Malkin joins us now. Hi, Michelle.
Hey, Megan.
All right, so that's the question. John Kerry predicting that if the Republicans make Michelle Obama an issue with that comment or any other, that they do so at their peril, that this will come back to haunt them. What say you on it?
I think that's nonsense. I think as long as conservatives and critics of Michelle Obama, and by the way, it's not just Republicans who are criticizing some of her comments, but also statements have been made in the left-leaning blog Salon about her comments. As long as you stick to the substance of what she's saying and challenging her policy pronouncements and things that she says on the campaign trail publicly on behalf of her husband, it's all fair game. It's all fair. There's nothing brutal about it. And I don't think there will be any backlash. Where backlash would come is if people make gratuitous and cheap shots at her that have nothing to do with the substance of what she's saying. And so far, the Republicans and conservatives who have opposed Michelle Obama's statements have not made those kind of cheap shots.
Well,
And it was like first blood. I think it was like First Blood on Fox News' part. They probably had other racist moments. So when it was this Asian reporter that was commenting on Obama when he was coming out, and around this point, I didn't think Michelle Obama was making a lot of appearances. So I guess when she kind of made her first appearance or whatever, the Fox News Asian reporter says, "Oh, look, and it's Obama. Oh, we have Obama's baby's mama. Look at her. Obama's baby mama is here." And I was like, what? Knowing that, knowing that he's married. He's married. So I'm like, but they still call it Obama's baby's mama. I was like, whoa. Was basically saying, obviously, I'm going to have to, all y'all should know what that is, but for my audience that don't know, right, whoever, that's a racist trope, basically saying black men don't take care of their kids or don't marry the mother's child, so the mother will just be baby mamas. So when she says Obama and she try to say it in an Ebonic sort of way, she would say, "Oh, it's Obama's baby's mom." She's gonna say, "Oh, the mother of Obama's children." She didn't say it like that. Let's say that was the truth. She could have said it like that, but she said it the so-called quote-unquote black American way. "Oh, Obama's baby mama," and said it like that, like it's no big deal. Eventually, they had to apologize for that racist comment that was untrue and just blatantly racist. So when he says all this racist tension started happening, it was on the side of the racist, which was Fox News. That's what it was. It was pretty much Fox News, right wing, or anyone that consider themselves right wing. Am I saying all white Republicans are racist? No, of course not. But when you see a Republican but if you see a racist, most likely they're Republican. So that's how that works out. You know what I'm saying? Not all Republicans are racist, but the ones that you find out that are racist are Republican for the most part. So that's what he's trying to say as far as the racism. And even as far as to Trump, same thing. But I'm not going to get off. I'm going to let him continue.
On the American people. They started with the gay marriage. If you guys remember that.
Okay, so he likes to do leaps and bounds as far as what happened politically in a chronological order. Obviously, because again, he's talking about Obama. He's talking about Obama. Obama was president over 10 years ago. But he's talking about Obama right now. He's talking about Obama right now. And we can see how disingenuous he's being. And this is what they have to do in order to make a point, because he has no valid point. So I guess he assumes his audience is ignorant. His audience are Africans here and on the continent and abroad. So I think he's taking advantage of their ignorance and he's giving them one side of what's going on in America, which is his Republican side, which is totally dishonest. As we can see so far. You know how I do. Pretty much destroy and crush Republicans, to get in their feelings and stuff like that. Offline and online. So I think that's what he's doing right now. But, like I said, you know how I do.
Used to be, oh, love is love. We just want to allow, want people to see us as the same. Which, by the way, if somebody loves two people are in love, to me, I don't know why in a country that is free, it's necessary for everybody to be involved in this quote unquote love. But that's how it was sold.
Again, he doesn't know how America works. Oh, jeez. Or again, he's just lying. So he's either ignorant or he's lying. Either way, it leads to misinformation. So I know what he's talking about. So basically, before Obama took charge, gay marriage was something that was a state's right thing. Like, each state made that determination as far as like, hey, how do you guys feel about gay marriage? A lot of gay people try to have that on their ballot so their state could recognize thing apart as far as gay rights is them wanting to get married. That's one of the things they wanted on as a gay agenda. They wanted to get married. So it's a state by state thing. So me being in New York, if a gay couple wanted to get married, they will have to go. I think the closest state was Massachusetts, right? So you had some people, hey, I'm a New York State resident, but they'll go there just to get married. So like from here, that was like a gay Vegas. So you had a lot of people from the Northeast that was here saying, oh, if you want to get married, we got to go to Massachusetts. And each state, and I think it was California, then a couple other states where gay people could legally get married. So if you're a state like Georgia, for instance, which is a red state, and that's not going to happen. And the reason why most red states, why that's not, I'll get into that later. While most red states, that wouldn't happen because there's a religious component to it. Any states that's around on the Bible Belt, and the Bible Belt is usually Republican conservative, they don't take heed to that. So if you're like a blue state, right, a liberal state, that will happen more likely in a liberal state. So if you're in a liberal state, even if you're in a gay state, they have people obviously in those, all of America, liberal or conservative, they're gonna want, are you serious? They're gonna want, gay marriage to be legal, right? But most likely, obviously, that will more happen in a liberal state than it would be a conservative state. So, how it works, and I hope this guy is listening. If your state, if you're a gay person and your state doesn't legalize same-sex marriage, you go to your whoever your congressman your congressman is, you go to your senator, whoever, your mayor's like, hey, look, we want this bill passed, and they try to see and vote that in. Why? You don't have to agree with it, but this is how laws get in place from a local level, right? So sometimes a federal level, or it may just get enforced in that particular state, and it may not be successful in other states getting passed. So that's why it becomes everybody's business. That's why it becomes everybody's business. To me, I don't care about that. I'm not gay. I don't care about that as a heterosexual black man. There's other things that black people have to worry about besides the extreme minority of black gay people, right? There's way more other things that concerns black people in America. So that's not a part of my agenda. But just because that's not a part of my agenda doesn't mean that other people can't push that quote unquote right through. So he needs to understand how the American process works.
And many people who even say they believe in God, because you see, I started seeing the hypocrisy from the get-go. So I wasn't looking at it from a political point of view because I'm not part of a group.
Then already you have lost, because if you don't understand politics, but you're voting on political matters. This is what I'm saying. Some people, I'm speaking in general, black people too, voters, Republicans, Democrats, even though it's our right, I'm not saying these rights need to be taken away from people. If you're an American, you have every right to vote. Your vote has to make sense to you. It doesn't have to make sense to everybody else. But when someone says something as stupid as this, they make it seem like this is not American Idol, where you vote on your feelings or, oh, I like how this person talks. Oh, I like how this person dances. Oh, this person could bake a cake. I'm gonna vote for him for a political office. Like, that's not how it works. So the moment he said he didn't understand what it was going on politically, you didn't need to vote. You didn't need to vote. You just wasted your vote. This is not American Idol.
But they are in an ideology, but they don't even realize, because in America, most people, went from having their own mind to now somebody dictating to them who they should.
America was always like that. I would like to ask, name a time in America where someone, something, or a governing body wasn't trying to convince you of something one way or another. There's no way in the world you could go where people are not doing that. The thing in America is, yes, you have several people trying to convince you of something or the other, but the thing about America, as well as other countries, but we're talking about America right now, is that at the end of the day, you could make your own decision as to what you're going to do or you don't do. So this whole, feel sorry for me because some people can't make logical decisions, how does that help your point? That does not help your point at all. If someone is so-called mildly retarded and super intelligent, and in between those two spectrums, they have a right to vote. They have a right to vote however they want. So stop saying, these feelings, and they want to try to make you think because they're trying to fool you. Okay, be a smarter person. Like, I don't know why he keeps driving this home. Like, I don't know, maybe his audience is not that bright. I don't know.
Shouldn't like. So that's where the emotions come into play. And I will show you that. So they said love is love, to where we are today, to where, literally, even if you say you cannot express that you, as a person, you are in a quote unquote, they call it heterosexual marriage, right? Straight people, which is the majority of people, not only in America, all around the world. So you have a minority that dictates to you, right? That dictates to you how you have to accept this. And many people have accepted it.
Now, when it comes to that, this is one of the first things. He's 100%, 1,000% right. Now, there's a spectrum. I should have mentioned this earlier. There's political spectrums. There's a political spectrum for obviously the two major parties, which is Republicans and Democrats. And this spectrum goes as far as like, hey, look, doesn't matter what the party. These are from extreme, like crazy, to mild, to like whatever, I don't believe in it either way, or I don't care, right? So someone on the spectrum could be like, hey, look, that's just moderate, or to look, I don't care, I'll just pick this, to light, like, hey, I'll pick this, because of whatever, I feel this is the best party, but they really don't have like really concrete beliefs. They'll be extremely light. To the moderates will be more people like, well, I believe certain Republican or Democratic talking points. I don't believe in all of it. You know, there's nuance there. There's room to wiggle and move as far as like when you're in the middle. Extreme is like, I believe everything, even the crazy stuff, I'll defend it tooth and nail. That's both parties. So the Republican Party will be on some, I believe everything Donald Trump says. There's this thing called fake news. Joe Biden is not the president. Joe Biden is I don't know, there's so much crazy shit Republicans believe in. Like I said, John F. Kennedy Jr. is coming back from the dead. We believe in QAnon. We believe that all black people are pick any derogatory thing. The KKK is okay. Police officers do no harm, especially when they're killing everybody else but white people. But when we're doing political violence and the cops stop us, then we hate cops. Like, as far as Republicans, you know, that's the extreme as far as Republicans. The Democrats will be extreme. Extremism for the Democrats will be what he's talking about. It will be like, hey, a transgender, a man that wants to be a woman, and he wants to be a woman, and he does the necessary steps except for surgery, that means he's a woman. So if he wears a wig, and stuff a bra, then he's officially a woman. Democrats that believe that's the extreme, right? And what he's also saying here is about gay marriage and all these other things. They want you to believe this. If you say you're heterosexual, then they say, oh my God, especially if you're a man, oh, that's toxic masculinity. Like heterosexuality is almost becoming like a 4-letter word, you know. And again, he's also right, where if you were to say like homosexuality is a minority, they're a minority group all over the world as well as in this country. Now I understand people want to be represented accordingly, but it's crazy. The representation for LGBTQ plus is way over the top, to the point where it is a form of indoctrination. And that, I agree with him 100% if he were to say that, go further and say that. Because we don't see that. We're seeing that in almost every part of American life, to certain spaces where we don't need to be talking about that or seeing that. You're a minority. You're a minority within a minority. So they're just way overrepresented. So let's see how long he'll stay on the path of truth.
Through the power of the government. And this started with Obama. He came in, he used the black skin, and people went for it. He used emotion. They said love is love. And now we know love isn't love, because now it's going to...
Again, he's right. Because if it was any other, I believe it was any other president, any other Democratic president. I mean, if it was to happen, most likely it would happen under a Democratic president. But I think they pushed Obama to do that, to soften the blow of the naysayers who are not racist. So we know the race is going to be racist no matter what happens. Because there were even good, positive things, not an Obama fan, that just things that has nothing to do with race. Has to do with, okay, Obama did that good thing. That's a good thing that he did for the American people, right? It has nothing to do with, oh, you appreciate that if you're, okay, like environmental protections. Something as simple as that. Like, hey, don't pollute the goddamn water. You know, something that, you know, that the EPA will put in. Trump will just reverse that because Obama did it. Trump was reversing all the things that Obama did just to reverse the things that Obama did. Even things that help everyday Americans. But that's how far the hate goes. But let him continue.
Man, boy, love. We will get to that. So many people say they have high moral standards. They say they believe in God. They started saying, Obama, they said, you cannot pray to God in the schools. In a free country, mind you, a country whose founding is based on God. The money said, in God we trust. And
again, I think he's just ignorant. The founding fathers were secular. They were not religious. They were secular. Secular meaning they were not Christians. They weren't Jews. They weren't Hebrews. They weren't Muslims. They were secular. They did not have a religion. In fact, going back and do a little history here, when the founding fathers were making the Constitution, they was like, let's make a Constitution where where the same thing won't happen to us here that happened in England. And one of those things was religious freedom. Why did the Pilgrims leave? The Pilgrims left because of religious persecution. That's why the Pilgrims left. So when the founding fathers, which were atheists, you could pretty much call them atheists, right? They said this state shall not establish a religion. I'll put it right there so you can see what it is verbatim. But the state shall not establish a religion, right? In other words, the state shall not say this is our religion, because you have some countries that have an official religion, like Saudi Arabia, Iran. Their state country religion will be Islam, right? So the founding fathers like, no, we're not going to do that again. But at the same time, right, you have the right to practice whatever religion you want as a freedom, right? Because the United States is supposed to be about what? Freedom. So you have the right to practice whatever religion you want, but you don't have the right to push your religion on other people, because then we'll be right back to where we started, saying, well, this is a state religion. And when it says in God, so let's take what he's saying to be true. It says in God we trust. What God are we speaking of? I'll wait. But I won't wait too long. What God are we speaking of when it says in God we trust? Because when you look at Europeans, they had the so-called Christian God, and not all Europeans were Christian. Some of them came from different places. You had the Celts, you had the Ingles, you had the Saxons, you had all of them weren't Christian. Some of them had their old traditional tribal religions that will be considered pagan. Some of them had pagan religions, some of them had Christian religions, some of them had no religion. So when it says on the money, it says in God we trust, which is something that was made way after the fact. It is way after the fact, after the Constitution was written up, right? Because why? Because we can have that on the money. It doesn't mean that you should accept God. So this is what he's confusing, right? So hey, you can put that as a sentiment. There's a good portion of the United States that's religious, but that doesn't mean that you should accept the religion, because the United States doesn't have a religion, a country's religion. The United States has whatever religion you want or don't want or you don't need. So yeah, we all know he screwed up there. I mean, it's like what? The fourth or sixth lie or ignorant statement he made? But who's counting, right?
And the soft, fake, quote-unquote Christians, they played into it. They're like, oh yeah, and I'm watching all this. I said, this is not right. By the way, I voted for Obama, right? At the time, I wasn't fully, hip into the American, political system. I was brainwashed by the media at the time. So some of you that are watching me, trust me, some of the things that I'm going to say, the way I'm going to analyze it, is going to blow your mind. But
so I want to know, that's fine. We vote, and we may not be privy to certain information that we are now. And we're like, hey, look, if I knew that, I would have did that. That's fair. I'm not going to beat him up on that. I would just like to know, since he said he was looking at the media, and the media led him to that, I want to know what led him to disagreeing with Obama. So for me, for those who that may or may not know, I didn't want to vote for Obama because I pretty much, anyone that knows me knows that from the jump, I didn't want to vote for Obama because I understand the job description and I understand white supremacy and like I said, the position that it's in, right? So I was like, you know what? Let me at least do the right thing. He was a better candidate due to the political climate, and he seemed genuine that he may or may not do it. So I voted for him for that reason. And I'll probably make another video as of to during I knew it was all bullshit when he wasn't even inaugurated yet, and he did and said certain things that I already knew before he even moved into the White House that he wasn't going to be shit. But that's neither here or there. I just want to give that little caveat as of to how I felt during Obama, his first term.
Just stick with me. I'm not here to try to convince you of anything. Everything that I'm saying here is based on how I'm looking at things and interpreting it, and also basing it on facts.
Well, he's basing it on his ignorance, either his ignorance or his lies and his assumptions. Because a lot of things he's saying some of it is just common knowledge. And he's just straight up lying, or he's just ignorant. So you gotta take everything with a grain of salt. Look, I'm not the official authority, but I put up references and things where you can go look up. I try not to just to talk like this guy is. He's just talking. He's not putting up any facts or anything like that. No references or anything. Just believe me. That's what he's going on. I'm the authority, believe me.
And these things you yourself can look up. It's not based, because you see, emotions which they are pushing, emotions kill debates. Because when the person starts making things personal and they start screaming, now the conversation is dead. This is where they pushed America to, hence explaining what is going on. So Obama's first time when
again, see, he tried to confuse it. Now, what does, again, strike one, what does Obama have to do with now? With right now, with these two shootings, that one was obviously racially motivated, right, by the Republican Party talking points and falsehoods that this white kid believed in. What does Obama have to do with it now? He didn't say anything. Oh, Obama put this gun legislation that made these two shooters did that. Nothing. It's just, he's just dumping on Obama, and he think he's connecting the dots. He's off the paper right now. He's not connecting any dots. So now he's talking about LBGTQ. How? Maybe he'll connect the dots. I don't see how he's connecting the dots to these two shootings, talking about a president that was president almost 10 years ago to what's going on right now. He has not named a policy that the person has made that affects today, or let alone rhetoric that affects the shootings of today. Don't remember, this is the point he's trying to make. Don't get lost in the sauce.
By which, I voted for him, as you guys can see. But I didn't even know what I was voting for, to be quite honest. I didn't even know. It was what was trendy, which many people, in fact, that's what they vote along. It was just trendy. But then I listened to the things he talks about, the things he pushes. I was like, wait a minute. Like, I don't believe in these things. I don't believe in them. Which explains why during Obama's time, his time throughout in his office, I suffered, because I added onto my own suffering. Gas prices were high. The stock economy was terrible. Job number.
Yes, and that was true because of George Bush, his predecessor, because he waged an unauthorized war on Iraq, on Saddam Hussein, right? Every time there's war, no matter who's president, the economy is always going to suffer, except for the war economy. The economy is always going to suffer. So he's blaming Obama. Republicans do this all the time, right? And only like the fools latch on to this. Like, I haven't even seen Republicans latch on to that in a debate. They'll latch on to that among themselves, but they wouldn't latch on to that in a debate. So he's blaming Obama for the war that George Bush Jr. started, right? And what did Obama do? Obama did the same thing what any politician would do, what a Republican would do, right? Gas prices were high, yes, because of the war over there, right? The economy was bad, yes, because of the war that was started over there, right? And what did Obama do? Obama gave corporate welfare, aka corporate bailouts. He gave bailouts. He bailed out several banks. He just didn't let the shit crash and, hey, there you go. I'll let the economy be shit for like 8 years and hopefully it's the next president's problem. No. Obama cleaned up George W. Bush's mess. Plain and simple. So him blaming Obama for what happened to the economy when he took it over is disingenuous. And we know it's disingenuous because he did not give you historical or political context as of to why the gas prices was high. This shit is too easy. I'm not trying to beat up on him or whatever and stuff like that. It just, look, it just eggs me. I think he has good intentions.
It's like the same thing that happened in the past is happening again. Let me show you here. Give me a second. And all right, I'm gonna play this under the copyright rules. I'll show you how many shootings happened during Obama's time, and just pay attention and count how similar what they would remind you of. And I'll tell you, based on, what he tweeted and what he is talking about, it tells me the agenda is tied to this. Watch.
Like, what kind of retarded ass point is he trying to make? He's going to show shootings from over 10 years ago was related to the two shootings that happened today. That makes no sense. The shooting in Buffalo had nothing to do with Obama. It had to do with the political party of today on the last couple of years. Or if you read the manifesto, basically it's the white replacement theory. He thinks just like that's why FBA is a racist group, because they think the same thing. They think, oh, we're being replaced by blacks. The shooter from Buffalo was shooting black people because he thinks that blacks are replacing whites and Hispanics, but he went to shoot blacks. We all know that Hispanics are the number one minority, and blacks are like second place, about to be third place next to so-called Middle Easterns. So what he's doing has no bearing or validity to what happened today. So he's going to show you shootings that happened mass shootings that happened during Obama's time. Now, depending on what the shootings are, that obviously has a political, some of them may have a political purpose to it, some may not. I will have to refamiliarize myself with it because, like I said, it's over 10 years ago, and we're talking about shootings that just happened this week. This is how sad Republicans are and how much they have to reach. This is pathetic, but I'm gonna have him do it to himself.
I've had to make statements like this too many times. We don't have all the facts, but we do know that, once again, innocent people were killed in part because someone who wanted to inflict harm had no trouble getting their hands on a gun.
You hear the language he used. He said somebody that is trouble. He had no trouble laying his hand on the gun, right? So right then and there, he's focusing your mind, the viewer, based in emotion, that ding, ding, ding in the back of your head, you're saying, hey, then why don't you take the guns? Because they want to take the guns from the...
No, you freaking idiot. You see where he's leading the conversation? All Obama's saying is that we have limited information, and it is an emotional time because a whole bunch of people just got shot. So there's several different train of thoughts. One train of thought is, well, we need to do gun control. The other train of thought may be, well, wow, it's getting crazy out here. If I got a gun on me, I probably need to get another gun or more guns. Or you may have the segment and say, we need to get rid of guns totally, which is not a popular thing to say, a position to have, no matter what party that you're in, right? And if what he's saying is true, Obama didn't get rid of guns. So he sounds stupid. Obama didn't get rid of guns. He didn't try to get rid of guns. He has no legislation where he was banning guns or try to strike down your constitutional right. I want to see a bill put forward by the Democrats during the Obama era where they wanted to get rid of guns, period. Because this is the Republican falsehoods and narrative they like to push to be oh, woe is me. These fake battles that they wage, and these lies that they say the Democrats have against Republicans, so they can muddy up the water so you won't see what they really mean. So they just make up these issues. That's not an issue.
American people and turn America into Australia for some reason, right? And American people are seeing what is happening to Australia, in Australia and in the UK during the coup, right? They lock them down. The people that oppose it They take them to concentration camps. But Americans did not experience that because Americans have the right to bear arms, and there's millions and millions of guns in the hands of Americans. But if you look,
so out of all of, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not too sure he's talking about want to be like Australia. I don't know. I gotta familiarize myself with that. But as far as I know, Australia is basically the British government, right? It just extended itself. You know, Australians are nothing but a bunch of English people that invaded Australia and pretty much destroyed the Aboriginals to the brink of extinction. They did the same. They were successful to do the things in Tasmania, which is an island off of Australia. The white people there killed nearly every Tasmanian till there was less than a dozen left, and they just died out. There's no more Tasmanians. They do not exist anymore as a people. This is what white people has done through colonialism, right? But he's not going to say that because those are his masters, right? I mean, like I said, maybe the brother has good intention, but he makes Africans look bad. This is the things that FBA says, like, hey, you got Africans and stuff like that. I mean, FBA do the same thing. Anyone that claims FBA, they do the same thing. Oh, they come over here and they undermine us and they get on the white supremacist side and da-da-da-da-da. This is what he's pretty much doing right now. He's kind of like on the white supremacist bandwagon, you know. So he's joining the group of blacks to attack blacks, pretty much, right? He's an African attacking blacks politically, right? So this is his position as we can see so far. So, but that's besides the point. Australia and England has way less crime. And there are people in Australia, I saw another podcast, people in England, there are citizens who have guns and have rights to guns. If you have property, you can have a gun. If you work for the government or something like that, you can have a gun, right? Not everyone can have a gun, you know, just all willy-nilly. You have to have a purpose. And this goes not even besides England. You got Japan. Japan has millions of people, and there's probably less than 5 gun deaths a year. You can pick most so-called developed countries, and there isn't any gun violence, not even half of what America has. Pull up those stats. I'm going to try to pull up.
The United States has a problem with gun violence.
We hold the victims in our hearts.
Perhaps we may never fully understand it.
A man with a semi-automatic weapon.
We talk about it after mass shootings, but it's much larger and more complicated than those debates allow. Here's what you need to know about the state of gun violence in America. It's true that the U.S. sees many more mass shootings than these other developed countries. Between 2000 and 2014, there were 133 mass shootings in public populated places. That's excluding gang violence and terrorism. Of course, the U.S. is a much larger country, but if you adjust for population size, it still ranks higher. Of these countries, Finland is next, with just 2 shootings over 14 years, but a much, much smaller population. And this type of tragedy seems to be happening more often in the U.S. Each of these squares represents a public mass shooting with 4 or more fatalities. Before 2011, they happened 6 months apart on average. But since then, only 2 months go by between them.
I hope and pray that I don't have to come out again during my tenure as president to offer my condolences to families in these circumstances.
That was October 1st, 2015. And just about 2 months later,
yesterday, a tragedy occurred in San Bernardino. Our first order of business is to send our thoughts and prayers to the families of those who've been killed.
Public mass shootings get all the attention because they're often so indiscriminate.
But the truth is, mass shootings are unlike most gun deaths in America. Here's how it breaks down. According to the most recent data, 92 people are killed with guns every day on average. About 30 of those are homicides, of which maybe 1.5 at most can be considered part of mass shootings. Most of those killed, 58 people a day, are suicides. The rest are accidental shootings, police actions, and undetermined incidents. Those suicides, they show up in international comparisons too. These are the 10 countries ranked highest on human development by the UN. The US has the highest suicide rate among them, and this darker bar shows how many of those are with guns. Some people think suicide isn't really relevant to the gun issue.
But to go and think that some type of gun control regulations that are being talked about are going to stop somebody from committing suicide when there's so many other ways for people to commit suicide.
But the methods that people use are important because suicide attempts often stem from temporary crises. The vast majority of people who survive suicide attempts don't end up dying from suicide, but guns make it nearly impossible to get that second chance. The victims of gun suicides are overwhelmingly men and mostly white. And the rate of gun suicides has been increasing in the US. At the same time, the rate of gun homicides has been decreasing, especially since the 90s when crime rates in general were higher. But if you compare the US to other developed countries, it doesn't look like good news. These are homicides adjusted for population size. The US would probably have a higher homicide rate even without guns, but you can see how gun violence pushes that rate far beyond the other countries here. The victims of these shootings, they're not the ones you often see on the national news. They're disproportionately young black men.
You guys can leave here and go on with your lives, but we gotta go home to empty rooms because our children's lives were taken away by people who should not have had guns anyway.
One possible explanation is that the US simply has more crime than those other countries. But if you set aside homicides for a moment and look at rates of burglary or assault, you don't see that same spike that you see with homicide. It's not that America has much more crime. It's that crime in the US is much more lethal. Altogether, the number of gun deaths in the US from 2000 to 2013 exceeds the number of Americans killed by AIDS, by illegal drug overdoses, the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, and terrorism combined. It should be clear by now that this level of gun violence is a uniquely American problem among the developed world. And here's one reason why. There are a ton of guns in the US. This chart shows the estimated number of guns by country. It's adjusted for population size, and it's still not even close.
The question that I would like to ask is how on earth could he compile 13 guns? How can that happen?
If you take a look back at the 10 countries with the highest levels of human development, you can see that it's really easy to get a gun in the US. All of the other countries require a license to purchase most guns, and those purchases are recorded into an official registry. To get that license, people have to state a reason for why they want a gun. And in most of these countries, they have to pass a safety test and are required.
You see, that's the difference. It's a cultural difference. So United States, you have the right to bear arms. So as long as you're a United States citizen, here's a gun. Obviously, there's supposed to be all sorts of checks and balances and things like that, but the NRA, lines the pockets of politicians, mostly Republicans. They do with the Democrats too, but it's mostly Republicans. So why do they do that? So they could not, put more red tape and regulations on owning a gun. So you have those same politicians that's supposed to make these rules to make our lives safer, to not do any type of gun reform, to make sure that people that don't need to have a gun not have a gun. But if the NRA is giving you money, like you're giving you a lot of money, like your Ted Cruz's, he's not even a Roy Moore, but he's not even a senator anymore. But all these Republican, Marjorie Taylor Greene and all these other kooks in the Republican Party, they give them money. So what? So they can stomp out any type of gun reform. So this is very important. As you can see, why there's more gun deaths in the United States versus other countries who has guns, because it's not a right.
Required by law to store their guns safely. In part because of its lax laws, there are well over 300 million guns in the US and counting. This chart doesn't reflect private sales, but it shows the number of background checks, which all federally to store their guns safely. In part because of its lax laws, there are well over 300 million guns in the US and counting. This chart doesn't reflect private sales, but it shows the number of background checks, which all federally licensed dealers have to run. It suggests that the demand for guns has been increasing steeply since Barack Obama took office. So we've looked at gun deaths and at gun ownership. This chart puts them together. It shows that among...
Since Barack Obama has taken office, there has been more gun sales. Wasn't that what I was pretty much saying? Why is there more gun sales? It all goes basically on the Republican side. There was talk that, our country is going to be taken over by that African. He's not a Christian. He's really a Muslim. He's not a U.S. citizen. He's really a Kenyan. These were all the things that the right was saying about Obama. So white people got scared. Oh my gosh, countries are going to be taken over by a black guy. Strike one. Strike two, he's a Muslim, right? Strike three, he's not even a part of this country. He doesn't love this country. So basically, our enemy is now our leader. So that's what the Republican Party does. They don't run on anything except for fear, 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 fear. Yes, look at the bad guys. They're the bad guys. I will protect you. They're not really doing anything specifically for the people, like healthcare and infrastructure and, minimum, increasing the minimum wage, things like, no. We got to start wars and do culture wars, and that's how they galvanize people through fear. So you had all these right-wingers doing that, getting ready for war because of Obama, because their freedom was going to be taken away from them. They're going to be in FEMA camps and all these other conspiratorial things that they were doing. So that's why gun sales rose, and they kept rising, because then Trump became president. They kept their guns. They even got more guns, because now they're ready. They're really ready for war with Trump's racist rhetoric, saying that the alt-right and people chanting anti Jewish Nazi chants. Trump saying there's both people on both sides. Mind you, those same alt-right people were beating up black people. They were beating up black people. They were beating up black people, Hispanics, white people that was on the right side of history, trying to say, hey, look, we don't need all these Confederate generals here and stuff like that. That's disrespectful to black citizens. The United States should not be celebrating anything that had to do with people who fought against the United States, which was the Confederacy. So let me let this continue. It's almost done.
That among highly developed countries, the more guns in a country, the more gun deaths. You can see that countries like Switzerland, which have relatively more guns than a country like the Netherlands, also have a higher gun death rate. And here's the US. Likewise, US states with more guns have more gun homicides. There are outliers like Idaho, which has higher rates of gun ownership but low rates of gun murders. But overall, there's a correlation between gun ownership and homicide rates. And that relationship has held up in studies that control for things like poverty, unemployment, and crime. The correlation between gun ownership and gun deaths is even stronger for suicides. It makes sense. Depression with a gun is more dangerous than depression without one. Likewise, fights, domestic disputes, road rage, drunkenness, all much more dangerous with a gun than without. That said, you might need different policies to keep guns away from potential mass shooters than you would to keep them out of inner city gangs or out of the hands of someone who might hurt themselves. America doesn't have a gun problem. It has several of them.
Because, you know, either source up or shut up. But he ain't shutting up, and he definitely ain't sourcing up.
Get it? Why would any logical person, right, think that the response to a shooting is to tell you to give up your gun? That wouldn't make sense.
Obama did not say in any of that speech say to give up your gun. Like, I don't know, this guy is slow or very bad at projecting or trying to spin a narrative in his favor. Because we could roll back the tape and Obama didn't insinuate or said anything like that. So he's a very bad liar or a very bad person that knows how to spin a story.
You have to come up with another solution. But Mother Emanuel is a black church. So for 4 years during, previous administration, such shootings didn't happen. If, in fact, mass shootings, when you hear it, is in, black on black, in black neighborhoods. They don't talk about that because that is not part of the agenda. That doesn't, capture the attention. That's not what media wants to focus on.
So here you go again. Again, this is what FBA says. And me, I call it, if it's the truth, it's the truth. I don't have to agree with you. I can disagree with you 100%. If you say something that's right, I'm going to acknowledge that is right. Same thing with FBA. Everybody, and this is what they're saying. He is basically saying that there are black mass shootings in black inner city schools, and the national media, the media does not report it because it's black on black crime. Now, how false is that? That's totally false. That's totally false. If, I'm older, I'm pretty sure I'm older than him and older than most of these people on here that talks this shit. I live in New York. I grew up during the 80s, the 90s, right? So any shootings or anything that happens like that, it happens it happens all the time, most likely in high school. It doesn't even happen on college campuses. And we know if a shooting is happening at college campus, it's gonna be a white boy. We know that. So that doesn't even happen on college campuses in the Northeast. If it does, most likely it's a white boy, right? But as far as shootings, it will be gang related, and it really won't necessarily be in the school. There'll be a gun scare, but no black person is going into the school. This is his false comparison that he's trying to draw. No black kid is going into the school and indiscriminately just shooting people, teachers, all that. That's not happening. If a black person or a black kid is in a high school and he has a gun, it's probably easier to get an individual or a so-called gang, quote-unquote, member. And it's not a mass shooting as far as wow, yo, he just caught 4 bodies. That rarely happens. And when it happens, it will be at maybe 1, maybe 2. It will be 1, and it's not politically motivated. It's not because the person has mental illness or whatever and stuff like that. It's usually a teenager getting his hand on either a legal or illegal firearm. There's no political connotation to it at all. Same thing will go for white neighborhoods. There's kids that I'm pretty sure that bring guns to school. You're not going to draw this false narrative where, well, you got the crazy white people that bring guns to school and the kids that bring guns to school that are emotionally distraught, doing it for political violence, but that's the only time they bring guns to school. Versus black people or black kids that don't do that at all, but they, according to him, they do it at the same rate or a higher rate, but they won't do it for little small problems. You see the false narrative he's trying to do. You see the Fox News, OAN, Breitbart, Stormfront bullshit that he's telling you. He's getting all his talking points and falsehoods from white supremacist outlet, white supremacist media, all the things to disenfranchise and to dehumanize black people in America, including himself. He doesn't even know it. He just think, well, I have this accent and everything, so I ain't a black. I'm from the Gambia, so I'm not like them. You know, I forgot the guy's name. They had this black dude. He was saying the same garbage of how, the Republicans just demonizing black people, dragging black people's names through the mud, saying, just like Candace Owens, saying that black people are the most violent people in America, and all these negative things about black people, and how the cops is great. You protect the blue line, Blue Lives Matter, all these Republicans saying all these things, and the dude got actually shot by a cop by intervening a situation that was going down. He thought I'm going to be a good citizen and I'm going to interject and do my civic duty as an American citizen. And I heard he got shot. It was like, nigga, what? I gotta look up the story, but this is what he's doing, and it's very sad. And this is why when FBA says, y'all come, you don't understand the culture, don't understand this, and then, okay, fine, then y'all undermine us, and da-da-da-da. This is one of the things that they're talking about, I believe. Because this is something I believe they'll use as an example, and FBA or any hate mongers, but they try to take one person's opinion in one situation and generalize it. Well, they're all like that. The same thing that they white masters do. The white masters say, well, I think black people's no good, and I saw this one black guy that did this one nigger that did this, so all y'all niggers is like that. So being under the heel of white supremacy for so long, right? That's what black Americans are going to do, because that's what was done to them. That's the only way they know how to fight politically, even as it's their own. That goes to show how distraught and totally incapacitated the black mind is, that the only way they can fight someone politically is always using race, even with someone of their own race and bloodline. That's how sad they are, and this is where we are right now.
But it's the same thing, but they don't want. That's not the right color.
It may be hard to comprehend the twisted logic that led to this tragedy, but this much we do know. No faith justifies these murderous and craven acts. No just and loving God looks upon them with favor. Already, we've seen a national conversation commence, not only about the motivations behind these killings, but about everything from the merits of gun safety laws to the adequacy of our mental health system. That all across this land of ours.
Notice Obama says gun safety laws. See, he's saying all these corrective measures, we have to look at gun safety, right? If what he was saying was absolutely right, you hear Obama said nothing about replacing guns or taking guns. But he didn't comment on that when Obama said that. Why? Because he's poorly trying to draw a Republican narrative that Democrats wants to take away your right to bear arms, which is not the case. The case is always gun control and gun reform in instances where, you know what, we have to look at this situation and see why are people that are mentally ill are getting guns. And it has to do with the NRA and campaign bribes, right? Now, Republicans and Democrats, they take bribes from the NRA. Mostly Republicans take those bribes from the NRA. So, to look, so hey, look, put less restrictions, because what's the NRA's goal, right? Or any company's goal is to maximize profit. So if there's less red tape and there's less, paperwork and bureaucracy for me to get a handgun, the easier it is to get a handgun, the faster I can sell these handguns, and I'll be able to quickly make a profit. So that's the goal of the NRA. The NRA is not giving campaign donations to politicians just out of the kindness of their heart. It's a legal campaign bribe.
We have wept with you. Whatever measure of comfort we can provide, we will provide. There are going to be other days for politics. This, I think, is a day for prayer and reflection. As president, I have now grieved with 5 American communities ripped apart by mass violence. And these mass shootings occur against a...
I believe that's all committed by white people in white neighborhoods. And remember, mass shootings. If what he's saying is true, I would like for him to show me what are the mass shootings that's going on in the black inner cities. Ooh, black people scary. Ooh. What are the mass shootings? So we're talking like 5, 6, 8 people. Person going to the place, killing 5, 6 people. Where are these mass shootings going on in black on black neighborhoods? Where's Ray going in there shooting up the school because Junebug don't got his crack money? I would like that example. Maybe, hey, I don't know all of the news. Maybe that's a story that went over my head. But I would like to see that example, because all he's doing is talking. All he's doing is talking and not showing and proving, and he's just telling lies, extremely poorly, saying a lot of things that is easily verifiable. But like I said, his audience may be from abroad, or they just don't know. But this is on YouTube, and he's spreading false information on YouTube. So nah, I can't let that slide.
Backdrop of daily tragedies as an epidemic of gun violence tears apart communities across America. Any shooting is troubling. Obviously, this reopens the pain of what happened in Fort Hood 5 years ago. At some point, we as a country will have to reckon with the fact that this type of mass violence does not happen in other advanced countries. And at some point, it's going to be important for the American people to come to grips.
And what Obama's saying is right. This type of mass shootings does not happen in other countries. He's talking about what happened in Australia. He act like Australia, like the citizens of Australia have no rights and all this other stuff. That makes no sense. Every country has its struggles and stuff like that, but Australia and England is not a dictatorship. It's a democracy, right? Just because they don't have guns up the ass and in the ear doesn't mean that, your freedoms will be taken away from you. So, and we're one country out of dozens of countries. Like I said, so-called modern developed countries do not have this sort of gun violence. So what's your answer to that? What's your answer to that? Everyone's doing it. Everyone is doing it wrong. We're the only ones doing it right. The country is doing it right, has more people incarcerated, and has more gun violence. And no one measures up to that. I think we have more. If you were to add up all the people, I heard one time, I could be wrong, that if you add up all the people all around the world that is currently locked up in prison, it still doesn't add up to the amount of people in America that are locked in prison. But hey, freedom, right?
So, ladies and gentlemen, all those shootings are very similar to what is happening today, what has already happened.
Oh my gosh. They happened over 8-10 years ago. There were others. So wait. So is he trying to say that there was no mass shootings after Obama left office? There's no shootings. It was just quiet. It was, we are the world, kumbaya. You know, everyone hold hands. And like, he's lying. There's been, unfortunately, dozens of other mass shootings since Obama left office, during Trump's presidency, and racism got even more polarized. Why? When Trump came into office, because everyone knew Trump was a racist, especially if you've been following Trump, right? You know he's an egotistical idiot. Well, he didn't really show his how stupid he was until he started on the campaign trail. But a lot of people know he was racist and he only liked rich people, and that's it. That was pretty much Trump. You know, he was a racist, and he'll mess with you if you're rich. He'll do photo ops with you and stuff like that. Hey, you're rich. Okay, you're a Negro, but you want a good one, so I can rub elbows with you, right? But that's what everyone knew about Trump. So when Trump came into office, all the whites, the racists that hated Obama, was like, oh wow, we finally got our guy back again. We got a Reagan again. We got a Lyndon B. Johnson again. So it was a complete turnaround from a so-called black guy who's so-called moderate, a little bit on the extreme side, but he was mostly a moderate Democrat that really did nothing, talk a good game, but did nothing, especially for black people. That's what Obama was. 2, hey, we got a racist guy in there, and he's saying, hey, the alt-right are some fine people, and all these people that are racist, are they just fine people? I don't know. What's a KKK member playing? What's a KKK? I never heard of them. Like, playing dumb, but he's playing the part. He's playing the part. And that's what people loved about. Okay, he could say racist things and pretend not to know that who David Duke is and what it is to be racist. What is that? So his people could be racist. So, you know, he's virtue signaling. And the country became even more polarized because now the white supremacists are in power. So it was more of an extreme. So these 8 years, so you had 8 years of that, and you had like 8 years, you have 4 years of revenge. So it's been more polarized. So this is why he's going to Obama and don't say anything about Trump. So you can already see how maliciously dishonest and disingenuous this guy is. And people like that, you are not supposed to take seriously at all, because he's saying, oh, there's an agenda while pushing an agenda. Look, I have an agenda too, but I'm being honest. He's not being honest. Anyone that has basic knowledge of the United States for the past 10 odd years knows that he's skipping over a lot of facts. And he's talking like he's just spitting facts. And a person like this is very dangerous. Dangerous to people who may not know, especially when his messages are towards people who don't know any better.
And, if you don't believe, you don't have to believe me. Don't believe a word I'm saying.
We don't believe a word that you're saying, because you're lying. You are lying. I hope people actually believe and take heed to what you're saying, as far as like, don't believe you. All right? Because showing it, what you're saying is easily debunked. Easily debunked.
Go back and listen to Joe Biden's speech he just gave. Just go back and listen. It's like they pull out the same script, literally.
Idiot. What does Joe Biden and Obama has to do? Those are two different shootings, two different presidencies. They're virtually about 10 years apart. Everything is the same now as it was 8 years ago, politically or socially. No, it's not the same. And I thought Obama was trying to take away guns. So why is there shootings now, and the killer had a legal gun? It wasn't an illegal gun. It was a legal gun. He bought a legal gun. The Buffalo shooter bought a legal gun. You idiot. So Obama was against. Obama successfully take away your guns. Why is there still shootings? This person was still able to get a gun.
Go back and listen. It's almost word for word. Joe Biden said such shootings don't happen in civilized any advanced nation, just like Obama said. Go back and listen.
And prove them wrong. Prove them wrong. Just don't be mad with your goddamn Santa hat. Think you goddamn Santa Claus with your goddamn Santa hat. Go prove them wrong. That's what they said. Yes, you're right. That's what they said. Are they lying? So this pretty much sounds like you're mad at the truth. If you're mad at the truth, that's your problem. But prove them wrong. Does this happen anywhere in the world at the scale where it happens in the United States? And during the Trump era, when that was happening, what they were saying, thoughts and prayers. Well, Republicans and Democrats, but that was a phrase when a mass shooting happens. Thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. That's what Trump said. Doing photo ops in front of the church right outside the White House, holding the Bible upside down, making believe that he reads the Bible, saying, it says in 2 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, everyone that is versed in the Bible, you're supposed to say it 2 Corinthians. No one ever says 2 Corinthians. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy. That's how you read Bible Bible books. It don't, 2 Corinthians. He actually thinking it's actually 1 Corinthian and 2. He made it sound like a noun, like a person. Like you have 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians. But it doesn't matter, because Republicans are either idiots or they have to look the other way and pander, because that's what a dictator does. Trump is the emperor with no clothing. Even though he's embarrassing himself, you still can't talk against him because he's the czar. He's the king. You can't say anything bad towards him because he's beyond reproach. Even if he's bad, just let him do his thing. Because even if he says a whole bunch of things that are false, and he may be taking a step backwards when it comes to intelligence, at least he's for, you agree with what his overall mission statement is, which is basically whatever they think it could be: racism, deregulating things that need to be regulated, and getting rid of immigrants and all these other things. You know what? And I heard some Trump reporters say on news, I was like, hey, look, he's not the smartest man. He's not that articulate. but he's a real person. At least he says what's on his mind. Now, that particular type of Trump supporter, even though I disagree with him, I have a lot of respect for him because at least he's honest. At least he's honest. Hey, look, yeah, the guy's not that bright, but I like what he stands for. He reminds me of the average guy. You know, he doesn't have a script. He shoots from the hip. Sometimes he, shoots from the hip, shoots his mouth off because he sounds like an idiot. But at least the guy is honest. So that type of Trump supporter, I could respect. We could agree to disagree, and we could have a real conversation. Like, okay, I got you, and stuff like that, because he's being honest. Unlike most Trump supporters, they're completely dishonest. He does no wrong, and whatever wrong he does, they either don't mention it or extremely minimize it to the point where it's like they think it's something insignificant when it's something extremely significant, right? And this is what they're doing.
Go back and listen. But if you think about it, just a couple of weeks ago, they were supporting, abortion, killing babies. They supported this, right?
Lies. Abortion, they did not support killing kids and killing babies. Lies.
So this is what I'm saying. People, something confusing is happening. If you're paying attention.
The thing confusing is happening is that you have a very small little understanding of the political process and the truth as a whole when it comes to the historicity of politics and what drives these politics and what drives both sides. That's the confusing thing. Your ignorance is why you're so confused on these matters.
You will see what is being pushed on you and your children. Think about it. Now the government, right? Literally anything that is natural for you and moral for you. And they are telling you, in many words, that's the wrong way to live life.
No, the government does not do that. What is moral to you may be immoral to somebody else. So he's a little slow, or I don't know what his damage is, but within the again, I mentioned this earlier, within the confines of the law and the Constitution, you are allowed to do and not do whatever you want within the confines of the law. So if you want to be a Mormon, you are free to be a Mormon. If you want to be a Jew, a Hebrew Israelite, a Christian, a Muslim, you are free to do that. You want to be a Scientologist? Free to do that. You want to be an atheist? Free to do that. You want to have kids? Free to do that. You don't want to have kids? Free to do that. Because that's all within the confines of the law. So he's talking about Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade is basically a back and forth between women's rights and women having total autonomy over their bodies. Basically saying, hey, look, I have a kid, I'm pregnant, and I don't want the baby anymore. Now the conversation should be, well, and it always has been, but Republicans always want to be dishonest, should be, okay, well, let me say what the Republican talking point is. And he pretty much said, oh, you want to kill babies. So someone ignorant like him, or anyone who believes what he's saying, oh, baby out the womb, or baby in his last trimester, oh, United States government say, yeah, you could kill that baby. You could kill an actual baby in his last trimester. That's what people are thinking. People are not thinking of like first trimester, or a cluster of cells, or before I think there's an abortion thing called the Heartbeat Act. So moment the potential baby or fetus has a heartbeat, okay, it has a heartbeat, that's a child. Now you can say it's a living thing, even though it's not viable outside the womb, because if the mother, so let's say you had to make a decision between the mother and the child. Let's say there's complications, and it was like, hey, look, who are you going to save, the mother or the child? Any doctor would tell you depends on the stage of pregnancy. So if the child could survive without the mother and they have to make a call, they'll save the baby's life. If it's a same situation and the child can't survive without the mother, they'll make the call and save the mother's life. Because if they save the baby's life and the baby can't survive without the mother, then both would die. Okay, we save, the baby, saying to save the mother, and the mother's dead and the baby dies, you lose both lives. So that's where the conversation is and where it should be. But Republicans are dishonest, slow, religious zealots. Well, you're killing the baby. You can't kill the baby. God, Jesus says that, Jesus loved the little children. They got a song about it. Jesus loved the little children, and you don't kill babies? God damn, what's wrong with you? You're the devil. That's it. You're the goddamn devil. So these are the type of people who you talking to. You can't have an intelligent conversation because they're religious zealots, and they're not smart. Like I said, I showed in my other videos where there's actually a poll saying people who identify as Republicans have way less education than someone that claims to be a Democrat or independent. Way less education. So you have a college professor trying to teach people at a 4th grade level about basic science. So this is all the disconnect. So when he says these things about abortion, they want to kill babies. They want to kill your babies. They want to kill children. Already, he's off on a dishonest. He's off on a dishonest foot. He doesn't want to have a real discussion about it, because it's about lying and muddying up the waters and basically just trying to have a polarized idea. Because anyone says, oh, they're trying to kill babies, like, I ain't trying to hear. I was a decent person, like, I ain't trying to hear nothing. They're trying to kill kids, right? But you have to think, like, there's two sides to a story. One side says they're trying to kill kids. Let's see if the other side is that what they really want to do? That's what an intelligent person would do. But with him, feelings, they try to get your feelings. And once you get your feelings, then they got you, and feelings. But he's doing the same thing. He's not thinking rationally, and he's just saying these lies to pull on your heartstrings.
I told you a story where a Pakistani guy took his son to a hospital. I think his son, he had some little mental issues. For some reason in America, most of the children, they have mental issues. How could they have to? Look at what they have to go through. Imagine you showing up to schools, you're a little kid. We're seeing videos of this. You have some teacher.
Exactly. And those kids that have mental issues, just like the Buffalo shooter went in the supermarket and shot all those black people, he was able to get a legal gun. The gun was legal, but he's not telling y'all that. It was a legal gun.
A little kid telling you about their sexuality, talking about they are pansexual. Literally, you
What does that have to do with the school shooting? He's trying to connect dots with leaves and tires and saying it's all the same. They mean it's all the same thing. He's very bad at spinning a story. Like, I understand you're a Republican, and when y'all look bad, you have to do damage control. But you should have just been quiet about this whole situation, because you look real bad right now. Really bad.
As a parent at home, you don't teach your kids these things. You know that these things are inappropriate as far as you're concerned. So the people that you call a leader, somebody that you support, they are supporting this. So you are giving your support morally by putting them in power so they can push that agenda. I don't know if people think about this that way. I do not support people. I support the truth. It's one thing if you want to live your life a certain way, but it's another when you say, I have to recognize, for instance, let's keep it real. You guys heard about this swimmer? The one guy, he calls himself Leah Thompson, right? It's fine. If you say you are a man, or let's say you say you're a woman, that's fine. That's what you're telling yourself. But now it's another thing to try to force me to see you as something that you're not. So literally, you're forcing me to be.
And I agree with him 100%. Now remember that political spectrum I was talking about? This is the extreme left, not the extreme right. This is the extreme left. And I agree with him. You could do or be whatever you want to be. You a man, you want to be a woman. You a woman, you want to be a man. You a man, you want to be a goddamn squirrel. You want to be a dolphin. You want to be a slice of cake. Don't care. That's your choice. But everyone doesn't have to agree with your delusion, right? Because we all know that this mofo ain't really no woman or a tray of lasagna. So why are we forced to agree with lunacy? This is lunacy. This is personality dysphoria. None of this is grounded in reality. It's grounded in feelings. And these type of people, you go back like 15 years ago or even more, these people will be psychologically evaluated as, look, this person has a personality disorder. And because this person has a personality disorder, they need to go to therapy, work it out, or find out what's going on so, they could get through their issues and their trauma. It's not going to be, well, okay, let's put a law, saying, so these people could be recognized as trees and pieces of cake and men that are women and women that are men. Like the psychiatric world has to be like on its head right now, because they cannot no longer diagnose someone that has a personality disorder as something that needs to be treated, because then it will just be hate speech. Like there are people. Okay, there are people that are anorexic, right? I had a coworker. He has a daughter, right? She suffers from body dysmorphia. Or so-called anorexic, to the point where she's underweight, and she does the same thing. She thinks she's fat, and she keeps vomiting and all this other stuff when she eats, to the point she had to go to the doctor, right? and he has to check on her every time to make sure that she eats, check her room, make sure she ain't vomiting in jars, and make sure she's not, doing anything like that, making sure that she eats, make sure she takes her vitamins, all of that, right? But I guess in this day and age, Dad, you must hate me because I'm fat. I'm 5'6", and I weigh 80 pounds, and you should love me for who I am, and you don't love me. He has no rights now. Because it's the floodgates of fuckery is going to happen. Because it has to do with feelings. It doesn't have to do with what's facts and following the science of being psychologically evaluated as far as like, does this person have a problem with a form of self-hatred where they don't love themselves? When you don't love yourself as a person, that's a problem. And it can be from extreme to you're mutilating yourself to killing yourself. That's the problem. So they'll skip all of that. The extreme left will skip all of that. Will say, well, if you do that, you're going to make them feel bad. They're going to kill themselves. Yes, so have them go to therapy. Oh, you're saying something's wrong with me. Yes, if you hate who you are as a person, something is wrong with you.
Crazy like you. So that's not freedom. That's not freedom. I bet you the things that I'm saying, this would be considered extreme when this is what is supposed to be the normal conversation. People are afraid to have this honest conversation. To a point I was thinking about it. I said, do people realize what is going on? They are sacrificing their children. If your there is over 200,000 schools in America. I don't, to say that there's going to be mass shootings at all these schools. No, but that's not realistic. I get that. You see, I get that. But now, you ask yourself, of all the things you're seeing a person, you're seeing a group of people that are pushing an agenda. They have the power to push this. And that's all they are pushing. 1 minute, they are talking about murdering babies. If you don't believe me, in fact, here.
We don't believe you. You're lying. No one is murdering babies. Let's go to the point. There are some Republicans, right? Because this is where the conversation is, and he's too slow or ignorant to realize the real conversation that's being had. So, the most Democrats and independents and most people would be on some like, okay, on Republicans, what's wrong with abortion? Oh, you're killing kids. Okay, bring the doctors in, and we'll tell you when a baby is actual baby, when it's an actual viable fetus, or when it's beyond the point where it's just a cluster of cells and chromosomes coming together to form a baby, right? And you try to explain the science and the stages to them, all they understand, but it's supposed to be a baby, it's still a baby. And you're just like, no. It's supposed to be a baby. It's not a baby. It's like you have a seed. A seed and an egg is a potential baby or chick or whatever, but it's not a baby. And you try to break it to them, and they take their straw hat over and start scratching their head like, I reckon so. Like, I get what you're saying, but put the things together and you got yourself a baby there though. Like what you talking about there, boy? It's like, no, that's not how it works. So that's where the conversation supposed to be. To the point where Republicans, you say, well, how about during incest or rape? That's still God's children. You're gonna have that baby. In certain states, it doesn't matter. You cannot have an abortion. And I forgot, I think it's Texas. I forgot where. There's a place where it's vigilante. It's some vigilante shit where if you know a woman that, let's say, okay, if it's Texas, I could be wrong. Texas made a law, like if you know someone who had an abortion in Texas or out of the state of the jurisdiction of Texas, and you can prove that this person actually had an abortion, you can send that person to jail. You get rewarded, and that person will go to jail. But this is America. This is freedom. Right? No detail as far as like, hey, I was raped, or hey, molestation, or hey, I was only 3 months pregnant, or 2 months pregnant. Right? Oh no, it doesn't matter. You got an abortion. That's it. You're 2 months pregnant. You know, no, that's it. And we all know when you're pregnant, they give you like, it's like around like a month. It's always like 2-3 weeks off, right? So give or take 2-3 weeks. They do like a guesstimate, especially when you're further along, then they could do it. So it's pretty much a guesstimate when you kind of first start out, but they don't need to know the context of the pregnancy or anything like that. Just that, you're killing babies and stuff like that. This is these ignorant, stupid conversations that Republicans want to have and don't have the real conversation.
Let me show you. Just a couple of weeks ago, the quote-unquote vice president of the United States. Think about your president coming in front of you. They are fighting for a law to allow people to be able to murder children. These people are saying 1 minute they want to murder children, they want to pass laws. Another minute they come and say they are sad. And if you notice, they seem to, quote unquote, be more sad than everybody else. They put the other side on defense. Those who say, let's pray to God, for their safe passage into heaven. Oh, how dare you say pray in the name of God. They are against that. So that's not free.
Yes, I'm against that because I'm not a goddamn Christian. You don't understand what freedom of religion is. Not you pushing your religion on me. If I say I don't want that shit, get that shit away from me, you don't have the right to infringe that on me. You have the right to believe what you want to believe. I have the right to believe what I want to believe, and I also have the right to not believe in things that I don't want to believe. So just like the average Republican, you got things ass backwards. If you tell me, oh, you pray to God, okay, you can pray to God, and I could disagree with you praying to God, but I'm not supposed to prevent you from praying to God. Just like how you're not supposed to prevent from me saying, I don't believe in prayer. That's bullshit. We all have the right to believe and not believe in things. That is our right as Americans. It's not just one way. Oh, I'm a Christian. You have to respect it and you have to accept it. Nah, that's bullshit. Because that's not freedom.
You have, a vice president and a president that would literally just say anything. But you see, in most other countries, there isn't that much consequences. But in the United States, there is consequences for this. And we're seeing it in the schools. Not only the shooting, that's just one aspect. The psychological trauma. People just want to point fingers and say maybe that shooter, he's evil, whatsoever. His background, things are coming out. He suffered from some, issues, obviously. Someone that's going to go shoot a school. He's an 18-year-old. If you look at it in these schools, they have what they call counselors.
You see, this is how he's a freaking puppet and enemy of black people when it comes to this. He has psychological issues. I'm not sure which person he's speaking of, but as far as the Buffalo shooter, see how he's not talking about how the Buffalo shooter wrote a manifesto and how he went into a black supermarket, just shot black people because he thinks black people are taking over America, and how he saw a white person inside a grocery store. That white person was, fearing for his life. He saw him, white person, like, oh my God, this is it, I'm gonna die. And he said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not here to shoot you. I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm so sorry. And went on killing black people. He's not gonna mention that because he, for some reason, I don't know, is either he's extremely uninformed as far as like the right information, or he's fulfilling a white racist agenda by, as a black person, trying to tell continental Africans and global Africans who may not know what's going on in America that it had nothing to do with racism, even though the manifesto was full of racist nonsense, and he went to a black neighborhood to commit this mass murder. So these are the issues that he had and how it played out, right? But like I said, maybe he got some white man to please or some white girl he's with or whatever. I don't know. But again, someone like this is dangerous. The only reason why I listen to this dude because he has a lot of Africans come on his panel, and that broadens my horizon as far as like how African people think and how to move. So when I'm going to certain places in Africa, I get a sense of the culture and how they see each other and how they see other blacks. So this platform I watch is good for that. But politically, absolute garbage.
Counselors, right? I happen to know some of the things that these counselors talk about with these kids, because I told you, I'm a parent. My son, at the time when they said that every stage they give him, they said this is the counselor, I would go and have conversation with the counselor, and I would let them know, look, I don't want you trying to push your ideas in his head. He's here to learn how to read and write. You guys teach him that. I will do the rest. Because why would you allow complete strangers to put ideas in your child's head? That's what happened to one Pakistani. Took his son to the hospital. He came back. He asked for the son to pick the son up. They almost arrested him for even saying his real name. I think his name was like Ali or Muhammad, something like that. They're like, no, he doesn't identify like that anymore. He's like, oh no, that's my son. They said, no, he's no longer a son. Now he identifies as she, her, they, because it's not only one agenda. And the hospital are imposing this. And guess who? And they have the power to do this. Guess where this power is coming?
I won't put, he tells a lie. This guy lies a lot, but I won't put that past him. I'll give him that. I can see something like that happening, where you go there, your child, Pakistani, they're very traditional. They're extremely conservative in their practices and things like that. And if the son was like, probably, if the story is the truth, then the son was probably fighting that the whole time. Like, hey, look, I want to be identified as a girl. I don't know if he really feels like a girl. It's peer pressure, whatever. He's a child. He needs counseling. He doesn't need enabling. He needs counseling and stuff like that to see where that came from. And yeah, I can see the hospital backing him up, and certain child services in this day and age, this political climate, backing him up. Yeah, I can see that. I won't put that past him. I'll give him that.
From from these very people that most of you vote for and you fight over. You're not listening to what they are saying. So these shooters that you're seeing, they must have a handle. I understand people have deep mental issues, spiritual issues. But have you ever asked yourself, what is it about this shooter especially, right? These last two we've seen, the Buffalo one, very suspect. It's coming out that there was an ex-FBI that befriended him. And this other shooter in Texas, 1 minute they said they bullied him because...
See, no mention of the Bible as far as the manifesto. No mention of him walking into a supermarket killing black people, targeting only black people and letting white people go. You see how dishonest and evil and conniving this guy is? No way he's supposed to be. He knows the situation. Reading that article, look, I don't know where to get his news outlet, but I find it very hard to believe that the news, whatever news or where he's consuming his information, that they're not mentioning it. I think even if it's Fox or OAN, I'm pretty sure they'll minimize it as far as like, yeah, he did that, whatever. But either way, this is a very dangerous stance to take. As far as like I said, a black Republican's job is to be a good little Negro and keep perpetuating lies, racism against black people, racist tropes, and minimize white supremacy and racism towards black people. That's the job of a black Republican. We see that with Larry Elder. We see that with Candace Owens. We see that with any black person that's a Republican that the Republicans put out on Front Street. That's always their job. And that's the only reason why they're there. To say all the racist things that they can't say. All the racist things that they can't say. And it's a political thing. Because the Dems do it sometimes too. But no one does it like the Republicans. Republicans don't like women's rights. They get a woman to say like women should stay home and just have babies and cook and da-da-da-da. I see that on Fox News. They get a woman that wrote a book and I say, hey, look, the woman's place is in the house. That's it. That's it. She should do nothing else. Be behind her husband and what he says goes. And a woman is there to support her husband and support her children, which is her family. That's it. Of course, there's going to be a lot of women that disagree with that, but your regular average Fox commentator can't say that because they're going to get kickback. But that's how the game is played.
He is a transgender. But then now, in this news clip, they're giving us a different news. Hear what they said, what pushed him to go shoot up the school. It's almost the same pattern, just like during Obama's time. Any state, Texas just did you can openly buy the gun, because last summer, you guys have seen in America what happened in the major cities. And if you notice, these mass shootings, you don't hear about school shootings happening in the inner city, do you? There's a reason for that. Okay? Because the inner city schools, they are big brick buildings, and they usually have security measures. When you hear shootings around those schools, it's usually a targeted one, like a gang beef or something. But no. Let me play the reason they're giving.
So why are you talking about freaking inner school shootings? What does a building have to do with that? Over the last summer, especially since COVID crime has went up across the country, the whole country. Of course, where there's people that are more densely populated, there's going to be more crimes, and that's in all cities. Some more than others, and that's a given. So I don't understand what dots this guy is trying to connect. This is almost too easy, man. I feel like I'm beating up on a baby politically, because this guy is too Simple Simon for me. He's like Simple Simon, man. Like, it's just sad.